You clicked on this video because chances are you probably care a little too much about what people think. And I, for one, can relate. It has been a journey of overcoming that fear of judgment for the content, for relationships, for being out in social environments, just life in general. And the problem is if we care too much about what people think of us, we'll stay stuck. We won't create the next video. We won't start the business. We won't reach out to somebody who could possibly help us. And here's the biggest problem of them all. If you continue living your life this way, you'll end up on your deathbed with the worst regret possible, looking back on your life and realizing that you spent all this time trying to satisfy, please, and manage other people's experiences at the cost of your own. People pleasing is a never-ending cycle. You may temporarily feel like you're satisfying other people, but you're constantly looking for that next thing to do to make other people happy. And before I continue going down this rabbit hole, I want to make it clear that people pleasing comes from a good place. It comes from this desire to keep our tribe safe, for us to create a good experience for those around us. But the problem is in when we are sacrificing who we are to please other people. The fear of judgment kept me stuck for way too long, and I do not want that for you. So in this video, I'm going to share with you my 3-step process for overcoming this fear of judgment, putting yourself in a place where you do care in a healthy way what people think, but you're not letting it stop you from pursuing whatever it is that you want to do. Now, the one thing I realized in my story, why I cared so much about what people thought of me and my content, is because I was consuming way too much of what other people were creating. And this all started back in 2015 when I started posting more of my photography online. I was comparing myself to other creators, thinking, oh, what would get the most amount of likes, the most amount of validation. I would only post the things that I feel like other people would like, not something that I would be in love with, something that I felt like other people would be in love with. I mean, I just remember every single post came with so much pressure to the point where it wasn't even fun to post. I wasn't posting from me. I wasn't posting from an authentic place. And it wasn't until this year that I feel like I finally have gotten to a place where I can consistently express myself in a way that aligns with who I am and doesn't put me down this rabbit hole of worrying about how people are going to respond to this or what people think. Again, if you're watching this and you support the channel, of course I care about what you think, but I'm not going to let some made up story in my mind stop me from sharing my truth and expressing what I want to talk about. If you align with it, great. If you don't, great. Recently, there was somebody who commented on a video and said, bruh, this video is boring as fuck. And a long time ago, or hell, even 8 months ago, if I would have read a comment like that, that would have crushed me. It would have made me feel like, damn, I'm not worth shit. I'm just a boring dude. I shouldn't make the next video. I should just cuddle up and go into my hole and just stay there forever. But now it's like, it probably was boring to you. And if it was boring to you, then it wasn't for you. Now, if we go back to the olden days, if it were me, you, and a couple other villagers, maybe some siblings of ours, hanging out in this one group, if I didn't care what you thought or what you feel or about your safety, then we wouldn't survive. So it is in our nature to care about what people think, to care about what people feel about us, or being able to provide for other people so that they feel safe. The problem is that with online content, with the extreme amount of input that you're taking of other people's lives, of other people's feelings, of other people's opinions, it can become debilitating. And if you don't want to stay stuck, then we have to figure out a solution otherwise. So know that it is a good thing to care about what people think, but when it's stopping you from taking the next step, or when it comes to things that don't threaten your safety, it's only leaving you stuck and unfulfilled because you're not taking action. You're letting things stop you. So the first step to overcoming this fear of judgment and giving too many fucks about what people think about you is to discover the peace within you first. In order to discover peace, we have to shatter the ego. We have to dissolve that motherfucker, because it's the ego that is caring a little too much about what people think of you. And in order to dissolve your ego, we have to lean on one thing, and that is compassion. Compassion for your mistakes, compassion for your failures, compassion for your imperfections, giving yourself the love that you deserve, regardless of what people have said about you, what you've said about yourself, just giving yourself compassion with no strings attached. And how do you do this? You take time to understand yourself. You reflect on your life. You reflect on your experiences. You ask yourself, when you feel certain emotions, why you're feeling that way. If I feel uncomfortable from somebody commenting that my video is boring, why is that? Is it because of what they said? Or is it because they're triggering a certain emotion that I have about myself? So the best way to understand yourself is to reverse engineer your emotions, what thoughts lead to those emotions, what beliefs you have about yourself that maybe need some challenging. Just because I might think that I'm boring doesn't mean I'm actually boring. What evidence do you have to prove otherwise? Talk to your friends about it. Talk to your family about it. Tell them about your thoughts and your feelings and your beliefs, and they just might tell you something that gives you the shift that you need to overcome this fear of judgment, of self-destruction, whatever it may be. Once you're clear on your insecurities, accept those insecurities and leave them in the past. Move on with your life. Just because you have those insecurities doesn't mean that you have to attach yourself to those insecurities for the rest of your life. And the best way to do that is to find compassion for those insecurities. But we have all heard the famous saying of fill your cup first and allow others to receive the overflow. This is that fill your cup up first. This is that self-care, that self-love. Yes, those words get thrown out super often these days, but if you're not cultivating that self-love within yourself first, anything you give to other people is going to be from not just an empty cup, but not from your authentic self. When you're in alignment with your authentic self, you'll notice that the fear of judgment starts to slowly come down. But in other words, don't shake who you are to feed other people. Don't shake your truth. Don't shake who you authentically are to satisfy other people, because it'll only leave everyone feeling dissatisfied. They might feel that you're not operating from an authentic place, and you will know that you're not operating from an authentic place, which is just recipe for destruction over time. The next step is to cultivate compassion for others. There's this one quote that completely changed my life when it comes to this fear of judgment. The way that you judge other people is how you judge yourself. So if you find yourself constantly hating, belittling, or ridiculing other people, chances are this is the exact thing that's making you so fearful of what people think of you. Like, imagine if that was your best friend who was just acting out and didn't necessarily have the love and compassion in their life, and they just needed somebody to send them some love. It's almost like a pendulum. You swing it one way and it swings right back to you. You swing the love and compassion to other people, it comes right back to you, and vice versa. You swing that love and compassion to yourself, you have more love and compassion for other people. I remember when I used to hear people talk about love and compassion, I think those words were so airy and fluffy. But I think it's really just breaking us down to our core and realizing that we all came into this world the same way. We all came out of our mother's womb and started as a baby. And then as we grew up, we had different influences around us, different people leading us in certain directions. We are all just a product of all that noise that we've taken in. If you can accept that other people are just like you at the core, then you'll send more love and compassion their way. And in return, you'll receive more love and compassion for yourself, especially in moments when you're feeling rock bottom. Just spread love. That's all we need, especially to the haters. And last but not least, the final thing that has helped me overcome my fear of judgment is comparing myself to nobody else but myself. There is no need to compare yourself to other creators, to other entrepreneurs, to other people in your community. Absolutely no point. What matters is if you make baby steps towards your goal, which means you reflect on your day yesterday. How did you spend your time? Where did you feel like you wasted time? How can you show up better today? And you do this over and over and over with whatever your goal is, and inevitably you will make progress. But if you're constantly moving back and forth between like creating content and then comparing yourself to other creators, you will never make progress. I promise you, I tried it. It did not work. It only kept me stuck. When you're comparing yourself to nobody else but yourself, you're in alignment with yourself. And this is the process of growth with anything in your life. In my last video, I posted a short film, and at the end of the video, I showed a quick little scene of me snowboarding for the first time. I was going down the bunny slopes. I had already eaten shit multiple times, but at this given time, I was going down and somehow I did a 540. After doing the 540, I had so much momentum going towards the bottom of the mountain that I just did a fucking flip damn near, and landed on my shoulder. And I could just hear so many bones popping inside of there. When I was snowboarding, there were so many times that I was thinking about, oh, look at all these little kids snowboarding out here fucking wrecking it. They're probably looking at me thinking I'm like some loser who can't snowboard. You know, the other mental battle of, why do I keep falling? Why can't I just get better at this? Why can't I just go down the bunny slopes without falling? Like, come on, bro. But here's the thing. Each time you fall, you learn something about yourself. You ask yourself, why did I fall? And you start to reverse engineer. Oh, okay, maybe it was too much speed and I was afraid of the speed. The next time you go down the slopes, you'll say, okay, instead of going a little too fast and just falling instantly, why don't I skid a little bit and then try to slow myself down before I fall? And then you do it again and again and again and again. And the next thing you know, you go down the bunny slopes without falling. This is the process of anything. So what I was doing there was I was comparing each time I went down the bunny slopes to the last time I went down the bunny slopes. Okay, I went too fast down this way. Let's do something a little different this time. And maybe I got 1% closer to my goal, 1% better on the next slope. When you're comparing yourself to no one else but yourself, you make so much more progress because you're not distracted by other people and what they think of you. And two, you learn so much more about yourself because you're in alignment with yourself. I think it's also really important to remember that you wake up thinking about yourself and I wake up thinking about myself. So these stories about what people say about you or think about you are, I won't say that they're not true, but they maybe last for 5 seconds, maybe 10, maybe 30 seconds. Worst case scenario, they have a conversation with someone else about it. After that conversation is over, they are instantly back to their own needs, to what they're going to eat next, to what they're going to watch tonight, to how long it's going to take for them to get home on their commute and what they're going to do on that commute. Should they listen to a podcast? Should they watch a YouTube video? Should they call somebody? So remember that we are mostly concerned with ourselves, which is a good thing, because this fear of people thinking about your failures or how silly you look on camera, whatever, is a waste of time, because nobody's going their whole day worrying about you besides your mom or your dad. But for the most part, nobody actually cares, and that's fine. And also, when you keep your promises to yourself, when you say, I'm going to grab the snowboard and continue going down this mountain until I have no time left, and you stick true to your word, everything that anybody else thinks or feels or says is completely useless. As long as you're sticking to the promises that you've held for yourself or made for yourself, your fear of judgment will go down. I know for a fact that when I was not sticking true to my word and holding promises to myself, I was much more prone to worrying about what people thought of me, obsessing over the results, not seeing the numbers I wanted, and self-sabotaging as a result. Everything I've told you in this video has made a drastic impact on my life, where yes, I do care what people think, but in a healthy way. I'm not letting it stop me from pursuing my goals, from pursuing my dreams, or just expressing myself. Because at the end of the day, I know that when I sacrifice my well-being or my voice to satisfy other people, or I say things that don't align with me to satisfy other people, at the end of the day, I sit with that. I go to bed and I lay my head on the pillow knowing that I didn't stay true to my word. And that feeling is the worst feeling of them all. So eventually you'll get to a point where you're just tired of this feeling stacking on top of each other to the point where you just want the whole building to crumble. I hope this video served you. If it did, leave a like and comment down below what your thoughts are. If you want to connect on Instagram, my handle is @AshtonTJoe. Would love to hear from you. And of course, I will see you in the next one. Much love. Have a good day. And people's opinion. No, I'm just kidding. Bye.